Greetings, everyone. You're listening to the Poetry Emotion podcast, and I am Angela C. Wood. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen to my podcasts, where I will be presenting classic poets and poems, and I'll be introducing collective poems from current poets, and I'll be treating you to some poems I have been inspired to write. So here's a quote for you. Enough. I am always enough. Okay, so the classic poet for this podcast is Edgar Allan Poe. He was born in 1809 and he was an American writer, poet, editor and literary critic. He's best known for his poetry, short stories, and in particular the tales of mystery and the macabre. He was regarded as the central figure for Romanticism, and he was one of the country's earliest practitioners of the short story. He's generally considered the inventor of the detective fiction genre and is further credited with contributing to emerging genre of science fiction. Primarily, he wrote narrative poems, and these are poems that tell stories in a metered verse. So if you'd like any further information about Edgar Allan Poe, please click the link in the description box. So the classic poem I'd like to regale for you by Edgar Allan Poe is called Fairyland. Dim vales and shadowy floods and cloudy-looking woods, whose forms we can't discover for the tears that drip all over. Huge moons there wax and wane, again, again, again. Every moment of the night, forever changing places, and they put out the starlight with the breath from their pale faces. About 12 by the noon dial, one more filmy than the rest, a kind of witch upon trial they have found to be the best, comes down, still down and down, with its centre on the crown of a mountain's eminence, while its wide circumference in easy drapey falls over helmets, over halls, wherever they may be, o'er the strange woods, oh, the sea, over spirits on the wing, over every drowsy thing, and buries them up quite in a labyrinth of light. And then, how deep, oh, deep is the passion of their sleep. In the morning they arise, and their moony covering is soaring in the skies, with the tempests as they toss, like almost anything, or a yellow albatross. They use that moon no more, for the same end as before. Videlicet a tent, which I think extravagant, its atomies, however, into a shower dissever, of which those butterflies of earth who seek the skies, and so come down again, never contented things, have brought a specimen upon their quivering wings. And so there you have it, Edgar Allan Poe. It sounds like he writes in rhythm and rhyme too, and this one it's laid out not actually as any stanzas, it is laid out in words and lines that just follow on until the end of the verse. So I'd like to introduce the current poet for this podcast, and she is the current poet in residence at the Commandery. It is Leena Batchelor. She's also known as PixieMuse Poetry and Prose. She uses writing as an alchemy to combine the magic of words with emotions that vibrate the soul and tingle your nerves. Her next book, Pearl Blades and Painted Silks, is going to be launched at the Camaraderie in Worcester. She is also producing a climate change themed play combined with poetry, dance and music from Hollywood vampires Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp and Joe Perry on the 29th of October. Leena has very kindly audioed her own poem, and so this is from her words, her expressions. So I'd like to introduce Fairy Wishes and Wishing Wells by Leena Batchelor.
She gathers smiles in the basket of her soul as she walks, nodding hello and savouring the moments of harvested sweetness. Each intersection of interaction cupped tenderly, then released, healed threads rewoven into golden wefts, gossamer breaths of fairy wishes delivered. She gathers tears in the basket of her soul as she walks, allowing each to drop onto blooms of hope, nurturing growth. Each sparkle glistening upon petals, then shivering, grief and pain fading into vapours of sunlit sky. Chiffon scarves of fairy wishes wrapping hearts. She gathers dreams in the basket of her soul as she walks, smiling in recognition of sweet desire and earnestness. Each wistful moment polished, shined, threaded onto looms of life, blankets of fairy wishes cuddled against chills of melancholy. She gathers her harvest tenderly in the basket of her soul as she walks, gazing fondly at the treasures captured there. Each individual, single consequence cascading into the well of ambrosia, re-emerging into an elixir of wishes as pennies drop from thoughtful hands. Fairy wishes gathered into wishing wells, woven threads of golden spells. Often when I'm walking around, I see sights that inspire me to write. And this poem is one that came from the fantasies of my mind. Fairy wishes and wishing wells.
Well, I don't know about you, but I really enjoyed that. That was really well constructed and very passionately read. I must say that the words actually inspired me to write my own poem. So this is an unpublished poem from, well, it will be in my next collection. And I wrote it because after listening to those words that Leena was talking about, it sort of like did tingle my skin and make me wonder about what I could actually write about something that I feel passionate about. So with that in mind, I tried to imagine what I would be thinking, what I would be feeling when throwing something into a wishing well, how my body would react, how my mind would be focused on the gifts that I'm throwing into the water, and hopefully I would be manifesting that wish with actually believing in the wish. So here it is, wishing well. Wishing on a wishing well, I make a wish I cannot tell. Be of mind in divine peace, I smile as my thoughts release. The dreams and visions I create, in a future I will make. Breathing in nice and slow, breathing out my wish will grow. In my heart, light as a feather, bringing in my next forever. Ripples over my conscious mind, gathering faith I have inside. Holding gifts in my hand, next to the well is where I stand. Hand outstretched I release the wish I make in my belief. Watching as my wish does fall into the waters, awakes my call. New moon, new dreams, I am awake. My journey starts, My path awaits. Well, I hope you enjoyed that as much as I enjoyed actually writing it, and obviously reading it back in that manner. It sort of like has a little bit of a skip there and a little bit of hope, thinking, oh, I've made this wish. So hopefully that's what everybody feels when they make a wish, whatever you're wishing on, whether it's a star or wishing on hope or helping yourself actually believe that that wish will come true, and you manifest it and you make it happen. So we come to the end of this next episode. So if there's any classic poems you would like me to read, then please drop me a line if you'd like to just visit my website. So here is a quote from Edgar Allan Poe. All that we see or seem is but a dream within a dream. Well, it seems we've run out of time. I hope you've enjoyed listening today, and what I have shared with you inspires you. I have a Patreon page if you would like to make a donation so I can continue with my podcasts, which allows early access to the podcasts, bonus poems from previous, current and unpublished collections, also mini podcasts. So if you are interested, please check out my Patreon link below. I hope you found some inspiration and you will join me again for the next one. If you could be who you want to be, would you be yourself? If you could be who you want to be, would you share your wealth? If you could be who you want to be, would you be the one? If you could be who you want to be, who would you become? Safe journey, fellow warriors. See you in the next one.